Council meeting. Members of council, you have the agenda, and we do have a member that will be trying to leave early, so we want to go as rapidly as possible. Is it agreeable to start with the grant?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with the Eastern Neighborhood Project, and who here would like to address council first on this? We spoke briefly on Monday. The floor is open.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
Tell them where we stand first and then we'll work from there.
We had it, yes, go ahead.
I am Early Powell with the Southside Outreach Group, and I'm assisting the town in writing the grant. And we're trying to come up with the budget. And we've been going back and forth with the infrastructure cost. And the email that I got yesterday, we trimmed it down a bit. And the budget that you have in front of you is with that cost. And you can see where the CDBG budget will be
This sheet right here.
allotted for the 1.4 million.
Right.
And then the non-CDBG budget, which is the 676,940, is what we're proposing the town to come up with.
In kind,
in kind.
or however we see
Yes.
fit.
Subsequent to that, I understand that there's another email that was distributed that I had not received until just now, where the sewer costs were reduced.
Okay.
And in
Which is
reviewing,
the second page of your
Okay.
in reviewing that, they reduced the sewer cost to $471,400,
We're looking roughly $200,000.
$200,000 less.
So it's 476.
Yes, for the sewer.
Okay.
The sewer is now $471,400. Which originally, the budget you have in front of you is for $667,550. And trying to determine what the difference was, we discovered that a section was taken out of the original, of the budget from yesterday.
Okay.
But when we look at that section being cut off, the problem arises that we then will not have the 51% LMI benefit if we cut those houses out.
Then we can't do that.
Right.
We won't have a chance.
See, in that area, there was no water improvements needed, but it was sewer.
Okay.
So that's why we were able to reduce the sewer amount, roughly about 200,000.
Okay.
But no reduction in the water was done. But when you do that, you knocked out a big chunk of
The LMI.
that you.
Y'all are much more versed and have more expertise in this than I know myself. What do y'all see as we're looking for a perfect balance here of a grant that will be awarded that can serve our low to moderate income people the most. Is there a number that y'all see as the best chance?
I think far as looking at the zones and what we had, this was probably the best, and we did still eliminate some of the storm sewer that we thought that was not as important as the sewer and the water issues that community has. I don't know any other way to get this amount down.
Gotcha. So we're looking at basically a $2.1 million project with a $1.4 million grant, which will probably be in multiple phases, probably two phases, because the most they'll award is about 900 some thousand.
Yeah, they'll award the 1.4.
They will.
But they won't,
What's up?
they'll award the 1.4, but it'll be in two phases.
Okay.
You'll have to complete certain activities for the first phase, and then if you're probably half, that's normally what they do. They'll award $700,000, and you'll have to achieve certain items. And then once that has been spent, then they'll award the multi-year two. It's a multi-year one, multi-year two contract.
Okay. How many homes are in the,
So when the first pocket of money, when that first has to go to the housing rehab,
Yes.
the water and sewer would not occur into the second part.
I think
of the fund.
that's actually ideal. How many homes are in the project area as it now stands?
To be rehabbed, is 25 homes to be rehabbed and 1 to be demolished.
Okay. And this project area in our packet is still the same project area?
Yes. And those areas include East Broad, South Dillard,
Tavern.
Eubank, and
Epps.
S. Yes.
Gotcha. Members of council, what's your,
I need to ask a stupid question. So, if you go forward with this, council's got to find $676,940,
That's correct.
and you're going to apply for this in what, 3 or 4 days?
We'll apply the 29th. That's when the application deadline is.
And they usually announce the winners, what, late July?
Yes, they will, review the applications starting on, I think in April or May, and then make their recommendations to the governor, and normally the governor announces his award in July.
The town manager called me last night, we talked, and these numbers were totally different, and, I kinda understood, but I don't have $676,000. I mean, I know you can apply for this, and then we start talking about it, but I'm just wondering why, we've been talking about this East 10 grant for a year now, and we weren't forewarned that we're applying for something it's an unbelievable amount of money. This is the first time I knew we were gonna have to cough up this kind of money. So, I feel
Did you hear any figure?
no,
Yes,
ma'am, I kind of thought this was like the Castle Trailer Park, like the state was, I never heard a word.
No, it's like Church Street, isn't it?
It's in-kind. A lot of this, I know
Yeah.
that Blackstone historically, we've done a lot of in-kind work, which has helped. One good thing about it is if we apply, they say, hey, y'all are our favorite grant, you're awarded, we're not obligated to accept the grant.
Right.
But I would certainly think, I would encourage council to apply. Of course, I know in doing so, you also build up hope. Yeah, I get that.
Well, I don't make no bones about it now, I want to do it. I mean, I want to do it, I just, I'm just asking, how we're gonna raise $676,000, that's,
Over what period of time would this $600,000 have to be raised?
Sure, it's probably
Yes.
2 years.
That would, by what year would we have to only up with
17,
that?
18, 19, around 20.
Just,
something like
I want to hear a date.
Around, over the next 2 fiscal years. We'll adopt the budget July
So-
1st.
That's saying that we will, somewhere along the way, in the next 2 years, we're gonna have to squirrel away $320,000 a year.
Or in kind, you
Well, in kind you pay for anyway.
you certainly do, but it's a little bit cheaper than grabbing out of the bank. Let me ask some of the town staff, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, what number, have you heard the town manager speak of a possible, of our local match, how much would be actual cash? Has anybody just heard a figure out there?
We spoke last night. I spoke to the town manager last night after I had met with Earlene. And the figures that she had here were the figures that I shared with Philip last night as well. So my understanding is still you may have a different number based off of that conversation that I had last night.
Okay.
These were the numbers that we talked about when I spoke with him last night.
So the initial grant will be how much
So
for the original,
it's a 2.1 million application, but
Whoa.
we're hoping to get 1.4 from the state and then
and out of that 1.4, how much is asked for us being matched? I mean, what is mandated that we match?
676, 940.
That's mandated. I mean,
Mandate, but that's a combination of, it could be a check or it could be a lot of man hours laying curb and gutter.
And also, let's say this, the curb and gutter's not included.
no. There's not a lot of in-kind here.
It's just the
Yeah,
water
it's-
and the sewer.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the water and the sewer. They cut out the drainage altogether.
Would our guys laying the pipe be counted as income? Would our guys working and doing that count?
But this is just a lot. First of all, when we heard at the last council meeting, I heard that this was just a grant with no match.
Oh, it's always a man. Every
Well,
CDBG,
No, it's right here, it said so last meeting.
I didn't hear that,
The
but
question was asked, what's the match? He said none.
what's this figure that we have in our packet is 1.3.
Okay, the 1.3 million. What that was when Sam was talking to Philip, and Philip had made some changes to zone, what y'all call zone 1, which took out 2 long segments of sewer. So that got down to 1.3. Of course, now the housing was brought down to 386,800. But that didn't have the administrative cost. I didn't know what that administrative cost is. So that would get you to the 1.4. Probably add administrative costs will bring you a little bit over the 1.4. The problem we're saying is though, with trying to get the grant, you have to do 60%. You have to have 60% of LMI participating in this project. That segment of sewer that we took out knocked the big hole of the LMIs that was involved in this project. that we got down to like 20-some%.
You're not gonna get funded for
You'll
that.
never get funded. So we're right now, I think, really at 53%. So we still not at the 60, but, you know, we're knocking on the door.
I mean, Church Street was done in 2 phases. I mean, why couldn't this be done in 2? That's what I
Well,
figured we were gonna be doing.
This is just a small portion
yeah,
of the
of what really needs to
overall
be done.
project. Cause, you know, town manager had me put together, call for, we got.
It was 3.3 million the other night. The total project, what we heard tonight was adds up to about 3.3 million.
That sounds about right,
We,
yeah.
we have not included, in order just to do this particular grant, we had to eliminate South Harris, Fitzgerald Street, and, the other streets.
Correct.
That was the initial project, which was over 70 plus houses. So to narrow it down, to get it to that 1.4 and to get the housing down or whatever, that's why we started with, View Bank, because that's where the older pipes and so, were. So we started there, and we went as far as we could go as far as with the housing, because the housing was the first priority as far as with the grant. And then the remaining funds was gonna be allocated towards the water and sewer. And so that's where we came up with this figure. And in coming up with the housing, and Mr. Houghton did the housing, we did as many houses as we could before we had to cut off at one point to not go over the cost as far as with the housing is concerned.
Do we have a current bond out or loan payment that we pay for
Church Street?
Church Street or Castles?
Jennifer Hardy might know the answer.
No,
We
not a
don't.
bond payment, no.
I was thinking maybe we could get
I know
lucky
we're-
that
we're
one was
still in the
expiring and
Church
we,
Street grant, we're still in the Church Street grant.
Right.
but we're not paying a monthly check to the bank for funding.
Here's what I'm trying to say. I don't wanna give anybody false hope. I want to do the project. I think we ought to go ahead and apply, but whoever wants to make the motion, it needs to be that if we can afford it, you know, that we go forward with it. I don't wanna make a promise that we can't keep. That's the only thing I'm
You know
saying.
how I am with budget and increase and stuff, and this year it's scary with that insurance.
Insurance
That's
is
what's
a game
killing
changer.
$120,000
Ms.
this
Wilson
year.
had a quick question.
No, I would just like to make a comment, and if I say something wrong, I would like to be corrected. With my discussion, just to try to help clarify a little bit too, in reference to the budget sheet. Because what Philip pointed out to me was in reference to the water improvement dollar amount. That amount is showing that that's the amount we would be getting under applying for this grant. And he has said in reference to the water and the sewer, that those things need to be done no matter what.
That's
So
true.
at least with having it done and getting that dollar amount to help, no matter what, we're gonna have to, otherwise, the town would have to spend $1 million to get.
That's correct. And the thing we need to do, that is absolutely correct. At the same time, let's just be upfront to everybody. We obviously want to help our people. There's 2 benefactors here for this grant application. One is the folks in the LMI homes. What I want to see us do, and absolutely the locality itself, we're trying to get help on our water and sewer obligations. To get funded, though, we need to include as many LMI homes as possible. And what I heard you just say is even right now, we're at 51%, not at 60%?
53.
53? Are we allowed to do a crazy drawing and say, well, let's take those 3 people there to get the percentage up?
Well, you have, it's not 60, it's 51%. You have to have at least 51%.
Right.
51%.
But the higher the better.
The higher the better it looks.
Right.
The better it looks, because our percentage is down, it would strengthen the application if you had that town support.
Right.
That letter of support saying that you would obligate, it shows that the town is involved. That being said, and like I said, when we were talking to Philip or whatever, he was telling us that this is something that the town has to do anyway, eventually.
Right.
But you would get the assistance of $440,000 plus to help you with something that already has to be done. So that's the plus side to it.
Right. The thing I feel bad for, and again, we have talked about it for over a year, the East End residents. I'm sure there are a lot of residents who have been clinging to hope for their home, and the need is so great that we're going to have to tell these people that be patient, because I see this as being an ongoing thing for several years to do it right. But you don't get phase 2 done until you get phase 1 done. We want this first application to be
Right.
as strong as possible. Do you feel like it being at 50-some%? We have a chance of getting funded. What I'm worried is the state people are going to sit back and go, okay, look, Blackstone's just trying to help itself. They're trying to get funding to do their basic infrastructure, and then they're throwing a few homes in there to try to score points. That's what I worry about. at the state level. We have a great relationship, a great reputation at the state level, and that should help us.
That should help us, and to the fact that you're almost willing to obligate half of what you're receiving from them to strengthen your commitment to your residents. So
Right.
that strengthens itself, you know.
So that's confusing me a little bit. So I've always found I'd rather ask a stupid question. So if we are committing to the 676, if we apply, we're telling the state, okay, then where is the money coming from?
If we
Oh,
accept,
if
now,
we-
applying,
You
you're,
I think you can't deny it.
Okay, then that's my question.
right. We're saying we plan to do this.
Well,
Now,
then
if we
I thoroughly agree that we go ahead and apply, and then right away try to figure out how you're gonna pay for it if it's granted.
Right.
Did Philip already, I don't know, I mean, obviously he's not here, but he already have a plan as to financing this?
Good
Or
question.
did he think? we were
Well,
just
he
going to
talked to me
pay
last
for
night
it?
for 19 minutes. I tried to get him off the phone worrying about his health, you know? I mean, usually my talks with him are 6 minutes, but I'm
He
like,
talked to
man,
me too on the phone.
I'm like, man, rest, just get off the phone. But his number was 400,000 that he gave me, and you know,
And I know where he probably got that, and that was from the earlier number of the housing rehab of 744. He didn't have the administrative fee that also went into the house.
Right.
That's what.
Well, there's a lot of difference between 400 and some thousand and 600 and something.
and that's where most of my fear factor is, okay? Because we talked about that last night, you know, with something that I'm halfway, I think we could pull off, but we're gonna have to put it in this year's budget to get ready for it. Now, is it possible that this thing spreads out like 4 years? We'd have 4 years? It's not.
This
So,
$1.4 million is a multi-year grant, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 36-month grant.
Yeah.
36-month grant.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
36-month grant.
Listen, I want to do this, but, and you can go ahead and vote for it, but I can't, there's no rabbit in the hat to pull out $500,000. So some rates are gonna be, you're gonna raise rates.
There's
You're gonna
one, there's one potential rabbit, but I'm not, at some point, I promise you, I've heard some good encouraging things that I alluded to the other night, but again, I have, for now, have to pretend it doesn't exist, but there could be a bunny, I hope.
Well, I do too.
But like I said,
And we can get on a long discussion about
Right.
our problems at Fort Pickett that could be $20 million.
That don't lose sight of Fort Pickett. That monster still sitting there looking at you.
I understand. I heard one quick question, Mr.
My
Johnson.
question is the housing development people, they're getting their houses, if they lose it, because of the water pipe thing, is that costing them more? Because the water pipes, I mean, that's the town thing, and that's the majority of the money is going to, and that's been 1972, we first built them houses down there that y'all the black not to fix. But they should not be punished with something that you all should be.
Well, Mr. Johnson, that's a great point. That's one of the things I referred to. The one thing we all can agree, facts, so we can always agree in this room, the town of Blackstone is responsible for the water and sewer lines. That is inescapable fact. Now, and there are people in this community, like I said, not everybody's crazy about grants in Blackstone because they see, you know, you're fixing up some landlord's home that he's getting rent from. But you are correct, Mr. Johnson. The number of houses to be aided are smaller than what we anticipated just because of budget. What I'm hearing from these professionals here is that we can add more homes, and there's certainly more homes to be added, but the budget then becomes that $600,000 local match will become $1 million. But if we slow and steady wins the race, so to speak. But
And it's not just in that neighborhood, our water, I mean, my current water line at my house is hooked up to a 1947 water line, so they're old, I mean, everywhere.
But that's the only neighborhood that have never been in the development part.
you are correct. It's only we've gone all around town, Falls, Taylor. This is the last frontier, so to speak, as far as the housing grants. And it basically, if you're a community the size of Blackstone, it'll always be moving around because there's always going to be an older area. Mr. Wayman Mitchell.
There's about 70 houses involved. How do you determine which ones will be fixed and which won't be fixed?
That's a tough call.
That's not us, that's the board, I guess.
Mrs. Powell might take a stab. Good luck.
We have a management team, an East End management team. And what we did is we got the information, the engineers, B&B Consultants, did a preliminary engineer report. And based on the conditions of the water and sewer lines, we felt the water and sewer lines were worse on the end, towards Viewbank, as opposed to on the Harris side. So because of the more severe need, that's why we started on that end.
So it's better to have a water and sewer in the houses than to have water.
We're gonna have the houses, there's houses throughout the whole project, but to address both needs, to address more than just the housing, and to address the housing and the water is why we decided to go, starting at the Viewbank Street, that's how.
Right.
And it was the management team, not just one
Okay.
person. It was the management.
Well, the biggest thing to look at is if you go forward with this, you're gonna, whatever the water and sewer budget, it doesn't matter. Let's just say that we've got an obligation out here of $1 in water and sewer. We're gonna have fixed. All right, so basically we're gonna spend 60 cents and get the $1 million worth of water fixed, plus fix all these houses for our constituents. You know, that's where am I looking at it wrong?
We're getting a
The
discount.
town is not gonna be paying for the housing.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's getting done out of the deal,
Right.
okay?
Yes,
And that's the beautiful part about it.
right,
And then that's why I'm for it. I'm just saying,
okay.
you just need to be prepared that there's not $676,000 in kind money or any laying in the checkbook.
How about the Water Sewer Reserve Fund? They've got some funds in it, don't they?
It's not fully funded.
But I'm saying this is one of the reasons you have a Water Sewer Reserve Fund, I believe, is for something, when these projects come along, to help cushion the blow.
No, that comes for when Andre
Something
comes
breaks.
up here and says, I need an $80,000 canoodleizer right there. That's
right.
what it comes for.
Well, members of council, without belaboring this, and I don't want to rush anybody, but what is your pleasure? This is simply to apply.
Well, I certainly think we need to apply.
I'm gonna make a motion.
The floor is open, Madam President.
I make the motion that we apply for the East End Community Improvement Project in the amount of
2.076.
$2.076,940.
All right, Ms. Thompson's made a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Tucker has seconded. Discussion.
Yes, sir. Please, don't get up in arms when we get this thing and take it. That your water and sewer bills are gonna go up to fund the payoff on it. Cause that is exactly what's going to happen.
Let's take it one day at a time. Let's be one day at a
Well, I'm
time.
trying, but
Cross that bridge when we get
everybody
to it.
says yes now, and everybody's very happy about it, but when it comes time to pay the piper and raise the bill, nobody can seem to remember the fact that they didn't want to talk about it now.
Well, like Mr. Green said, just get it and see what happens.
But that's what's happened to us for 40 years.
Well,
Let's
Mr.
see what's going to happen.
Mr. Moncur has raised a valid point. I'll just tell you my position, because I know that maybe I'm being referred to. I do not mind my water and sewer bill going up if it's helping my town meet its municipal functions of providing water and sewer. What I worry about is when something goes up over here to help something go over here, and then we're like, we don't have any money. It's like, no, you had money. So I think you make it a,
The same LMI people you're talking about are gonna have their bills going up. And these are the same people we sit here and talk about, the people who can't afford to meet the expenses of today, and they don't have it. All we do is adding to the mountains now. You just can't have it both ways, and if you don't think about it in advance, you're fooling yourself.
Don't fix it.
well, we got terracotta pipes. We got to fix it. We got to fix it.
Look at the grant come and see what happens.
Correct.
What happens if you don't fix this problem that we have with the water thing now?
We got to fix it. You know what happens, Mr. Johnson? What happens is we become like some other towns where we get a consent order from DEQ because we put off and put off.
Wouldn't that cost more in the long run?
Yes, sir. And one thing I'll say, I'm proud about this town, even though it's hurt us in the past. It's been a lot of, we've climbed mountains. A lot of towns we're afraid to climb because we want to meet our obligations. And one of our vital services we provide is water, sewer, and electricity. Those are vital core services.
You
So
also could take that extra 10% that you was making for the late fee.
we fixed that the other night. We did fix that. Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor to apply. I'll ask for a roll call vote because it is a significant amount of money, starting with Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Reluctantly,
Motion carries 7-0. Thank y'all so much for your expertise and for your patience. And yes, Ms. Powell, anything else?
One more thing.
Yes.
I will need a letter from the town saying that they're gonna commit the $776,000. They're not gonna take my word.
You mean 676?
676.
Don't make it.
676,940. I'll just need a letter, with your signature from the town council saying that it has been voted upon in your.
This grant is being applied again.
Yes.
That's to apply, we're committing. We
Yes.
could have a change of heart in July if our budget looks bleak. But first, I'm concerned personally, that we get, I think we've got, it's gonna be tight getting, it may not be a home run application. Am I right? It's,
Right. It's, and then like,
I don't know, the amount that you're putting up there is certainly gonna,
will help.
it's gonna help, it's gonna help.
Okay,
I mean, it's not like you asked
Okay.
for 1.4 and you're only putting on 100,000,
okay,
you know.
You've
so
heard it.
That's gotta help.
okay, very good. I want to move this meeting along. I will, moving on with the agenda. We did have something I was gonna ask to be added about a police invoice. I'm setting that aside. Yes, Mr. Mitchell, briefly.
People, a lot of people, the members in town don't understand about grants. So you can put a little flyer and explain what grants are about.
Okay,
Come over here, you know,
okay.
explain what.
You and I can get together and I'll try to word something maybe. Every grant's different, so it's hard. This is one that's probably, this is very unusual. On the, number 2 on your agenda, some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but it was brought to my attention by some residents of South Main Street. And I want to stress that I'm not alleging or implying that anybody might be breaking the law, but someone told me that there's a house on South Main Street, it's near Dollar General, that they are running their electricity almost 24/7 with a external generator.
I brought this up a month ago.
You
Nothing
did.
was done about it.
And I don't know if
There is
it-
no current water, sewer, or anything in the house. So to be honest, the house is not deemed fit to live in.
Is there a certificate of occupancy for the house, though? I wonder if someone,
Yeah, I mean, they've been living in it, but
Right.
their power got shut off because of not paying.
okay,
So they're powering their house by a generator outside. They were using Dollar General's facilities. Dollar General finally figured out what they were doing, shut them off.
okay.
And so now I wouldn't even want to know what's going on.
I want to, my job as mayor has brought to my attention, I want to make sure that, and I'm not convinced they're violating any law. Is there a law that says you cannot run your house on a generator? I know there's some dangers, there's some hazards of doing it.
I talked to Dan Martin.
Okay,
He said he said it is a hazard, but there is no code. And so he told me to call Al Ellington, so Al came by to see me, and Ben happened to be in my office today when Al showed up.
okay.
They don't have anything in the code for that either, but I did include, he said it could be a noise violation, but I don't know how loud the generator is.
Well, the noise ordinance states that if you, no noise is supposed to leave your property, except for like the example of cutting trees during a certain time. You know, if you can hear it from the next door neighbors, then they're in violation of noise
I
ordinance.
walked into
Said
Pizza
noise
and Wing
from-
last night at 9 o'clock, and I could easily hear it.
It
Really?
said noise from property, the creation of any noise from any source which is audible beyond the property lines of any residential or commercial property.
That's correct.
So that is in our ordinance. But he also said, now when I talked to Philip about it, he said even though utilities are cut off, you still have water and sewer. That comes by flow, the way he explained it to me, so.
Why is the valve not cut off?
But I don't know, but he also said, but Al Ellington said today about, I was informed that, I sent a letter because the yard is so junky, and they needed to clean the yard.
the owner of
So
the
I
house.
sent a letter, yes, to the
The
owner.
people who live there are not the owners, they're renters.
Yeah, but it's his daughter that lives there.
Okay.
So the man that owns the house came to see me, said that they had whatever, and he was going to tell them they had so many days to clean up the yard. And
Okay,
he advised me that there are 3 kids that live there. And Mr. Ellington said last night it was 29 degrees, and they have to, it is a law that they have to have proper heating in there for children that live in their house.
so they're in violation of the county building ordinance.
Well, another
If there's
question,
no heat, but we don't know.
the question is how, if they are not paying the utilities,
Why they have
like
water.
everybody else, they've been served a late slip and a pink slip and all of that stuff. Why do they still have
Water.
water?
Philip
That
says-
bill should have been turned off
I didn't
at
know about the
tag.
devices, if I did, I would look everything up before I came.
Okay, okay, well, can we just find out maybe tomorrow?
There ain't no such thing as flow. I mean,
The way that Philip
all
explained it to
farms
me, it was, you still have water and sewer, your utilities are.
Your sewer obviously can't be turned off, but the water can be shut off at the valve, I
Yes.
mean, at the main.
And locked, and it has a lock.
Then that can shut off if you can't
Well,
flush
we
the
can
commode.
fix that by taking the meter out if we had to.
You can whittle a lid on the meter.
Well, I think my main issue, the people who complained were not, they were more really concerned about the safety of the people. The noise really wasn't bothering them that much, but they can hear it. But if we could just try to get some more information and facts, and I should have prepped you before the meeting, I apologize. I don't even know who the owner is, we don't need to say the name out loud. But we can get some facts, and the fact that there's small children there, I mean, there are fire hazards with the generator. I don't know what caliber generator it is, but there's some hazards with that. And
How long has this power been turned off?
I did not know nothing about, I can't.
brought up in January, February.
Dan told me the power was cut off when I asked him about
been over a
it. He
month.
said it has been cut off.
Philip has said in these chambers before that you have to be careful about people. You got to give people more time before you cut the water off. That's a much more different service than electricity for some reason. I've heard him say something to that effect. But anyway, more facts would be greatly appreciate. We can make it.
I'd like to see us actually pursue and make sure we follow through whether.
Let's have a motion.
So,
Mr. Nash, you want to make a motion?
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to task the town staff to pursue with whatever needs to be done, finding more facts about South Main Street.
Regarding compliance and safety.
Correct.
Compliance with
Is that include enforcing the noise ordinance?
Correct. If it's deemed necessary.
any and all ordinances as
And
necessary.
turning off the water if it's
Yes, yes.
I agree.
All right. Is there a second to Mr. Nash's motion? Mr. Green is seconded. We clear what we're voting on, members of council? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That's 7-0. This last on your agenda, before, I know people might have to leave, I want to move something up. Everyone's here. Can we discuss, by common consent, if y'all agree, setting a date for the meeting where we go and look at the recreational complex and decide about the basketball
And
court?
we were gonna continue this meeting.
To the, right, I don't want to forget that date. I forgot it the other night, but can we set a date for next week for us to go and actually have a meeting, convene at the rec complex? I love it to be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday afternoon. They're just the best days for me. It's late.
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday, like what time?
I'd say 5 when it's
Oh, yeah,
daylight.
yeah, so I'll be back from,
So Wednesday, March 29th at 5 o'clock. And if we could alert on the, you'll do that by e-blast, because I know that, okay.
So will we start here and then move there to?
We will convene the meet, I don't need to I will call the meeting to order at the site.
Okay, so everybody, if anybody wants to come, it will be at Rigglesworth.
We'll meet at the basketball
So
court.
carry your video camera so we can.
But we'll try to reach some consensus on that with the stakeholders, the youth, the council, the neighbors, all that, okay? The other thing on your last item on the agenda is signage South Main Street. I believe this has to do with the outdoor, or the small engine repair shop that
Yes.
wants to locate.
And I did talk to Philip about this as well.
Okay.
And just to get his opinion, and it's my understanding they haven't even approached DVI yet, and they are in the downtown historical business district, so. But Philip says if they approve the sign, then the town can, but he just is not allowed to do the part of the sign, the small engine repair. And the guy did say if he could hang the sign, if there was any small engine repair, he could take them home and work on them until, and I'm working on the ad, and I'm working on the definition and all that, and they also we get it advertised, because he has paid his fee and he is due his
Well,
time. so-
they haven't been approved to put it there yet, have they?
Yeah.
But I don't think he's approached DBI yet.
Well,
I
isn't this a
called
DBI
DBI.
function though? I mean,
DBI hasn't seen the sign.
We can't approve the sign until DBI does, so
So-
it doesn't matter.
it's a dead duck on our end.
Yeah, we're just an appeal board on the sign. Only thing,
You explained very clearly the other night what hoops you had to go through.
I thought I did. I appreciate that. I know he's urging to start business. This is to all who listen, everyone watching on TV. When you buy or rent land, it's so important. The first thing you should resolve is zoning. I don't want to talk down to anybody, but you can't all of a sudden buy or acquire a piece of property and then have an emergency with us with the zoning. I sympathize with the man, and I have heard much comments in the downtown business district about how this may or may not be an asset to downtown. My business is close to it. I don't really care. I won't see it. We don't have windows in my office, but there are some small engine repair places that get a little cluttered. But anyway,
And the definition that we're looking to adopt is in an enclosed space, so it cannot come outside of that building.
that's
It's the
important.
definition.
That's important. That could be a game changer there.
Also, you have oil seepage and stuff
Right,
like that.
right.
Contamination.
But until DBI approves it, the town has no.
I would say this council would urge DBI to
Direct them to DBI.
to
so they
expedite
don't
it.
have-
How can you hang the sign?
Go through the plan.
It has to go through DBI, then the planning
That's
commission.
what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
that's-
How can
Go
you,
through the
how
planning
can you
commission.
hang the sign until you go to planning council, which the president's on, and then come to us?
Well, I do sympathize with one point. He said, now, I do think about this now. All he wants, if DBI would approve the sign, and he wouldn't do any business in there, that would get him some business to go take home. I sympathize with him on that.
And he does, and he is gonna sell parts, and he can do that.
He can sell.
He just cannot do any repairs inside.
Right, so if DBI will approve a sign, he can at least
Hang the sign.
use it to lead business to his house and to sell parts there. But we gotta make sure he doesn't start fixing lawnmowers in the shop prematurely. So we all understand that. Let's encourage DBI to get on it with the sign. And this man's gotta go through the process like everybody else, it takes time. I have nothing else, believe it or not. Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
I got 5.5 hour drive, so I'm ready.
This meeting, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna continue this meeting to Wednesday, March 29th at 5 o'clock at the outdoor basketball court on South Harris Street. Mr. Wayman Mitchell, you'll close the meeting with what words of wisdom?
Noise, the way I see it, if I got a neighbor next door and he's got a generator and it's not bothering me, I'm not complaining about it, would that be,
Probably wouldn't be a violation.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Let's face it, the ordinance goes into great detail. But if it's Sunday morning and he was cutting his generator on every morning at 6:30 and was waking you up, he'd be in violation. It's sort of one of those things, you try to get along with your neighbors.
Yeah, right.
But-
That's what I'm saying, if you're not gonna no complaints, it shouldn't be no noise.
Right.
Any churches can help him out with their light bill and stuff?
Sir?
Any church that can help them pay their light bill? I mean, they make it.
I don't know if they've sought assistance, I don't know.
That certainly would help. Certainly, yeah, anytime the private, anybody,
We also have
Yeah.
help, the help.
the help group is, yes, the help group. All right, at this time, I'll adjourn the meeting at 5:36 PM.
Continue.
I'm sorry, continue the meeting until next Wednesday. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
I was about to say,